Silver bullet time, Winchester Silvertip ammunition. I'm testing our 380 ACP and our 38 Special+P. Now this 38 Special+P hasn't been available for a long time. It's actually new in this line because most of the time you see the Silvertip 38 Special, it's the 110 grain, it's a standard pressure. Now they have it in the 125 grain plus P. That used to be a thing, but I haven't been able to find it for 5 years. And the way they used to have it was like this. They had it in the Super X variety as a Silvertip jacketed hollow point 125 grain 38 Special+P. So the ratings of velocity on this of 125 grain at 945 feet per second is exactly the same as this. So it's basically the same ammunition. So I've been curious for a while what this will do in a gel test because I've never had the opportunity to gel test it. A 380 ACP. This is a, I believe it's a, it says 85 grain right there, 85 grain Silvertip. I don't think I've ever tested that through this particular pistol here. So this is our Smith & Wesson Shield EZ with a 3.68 inch barrel. Our 38 Special. I decided to use my 2-inch Taurus 605 because it's a little bit better revolver compared to my 3-inch Taurus 856. And you know, it's hard to get a perfect comparison as far as barrel travel with that particular M&P there, because it's 3.68 inches. You'd essentially need about a 2.5 inch revolver. But overall size of these things, when I lay them up here, it's almost the same. It's pretty much identical overall size. It's just that the 380 has a larger hump out the back right there. So we're gonna go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm gonna do my 10% clear ballistic test. So we're just gonna go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is of those cartridges, and then after that I'm going to do more of my real world simulation where I'm going to have 4 layers of heavy denim up here in the front of this first 3 inches here that represents our pectoral muscle. After that I'm going to have a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard that represents hitting ribs or sternum. We'll see how they do in our real world simulation, and then I am going to shoot at my steel to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. First up, we have our 380 ACP. Now, this is rated at 1,000 feet per second. I don't know the barrel length they use, but let's see how close we can get to that 1,000 feet per second here. $1,011, 1,003, 1,025. 989, 1,012. So I'd say we are pretty much rated velocity there. 38 Special+P rated at 945. Let's see what we get with this. 815, 844, 797, 811, 826. So pretty slow. I mean, this is a 2-inch barrel, however, I have seen a lot better velocities with 125 grain plus P's through this. So let's hit our ballistics gel block, see how these compare. All right, first up, let's do our plain clear ballistics best potential 380 ACP. Let's see what this does. All right, and hit that with the 38 Special+P. Let's take a look. Alright, so I got pretty much what I expected I was going to see with that. You know, a 90 grain bullet is really light, or 85 grain I should say, and it's moving up there 1,000 feet per second, so you can kind of expect there's not a lot of mass, but there's enough velocity to expand that. So that's what we got there, and we got a penetration of 8 inches. I know sometimes the parallax or whatever it's called, when we look at depths in here, looks way off. It looks like to you guys here that maybe it's at like 9 or 10 inches, but when you come to the side with the way my camera is, it's 8 inches. With our 38 Special, we definitely got tumbling. We went straight here, and when we got to about the 8-inch mark, definitely tumbled. I don't see any expansion whatsoever, and we're at a penetration of right there at about 16 inches. So overall, even though we didn't get expansion, our 38 Special, I would say definitely was more effective in this particular plain gel test, but that doesn't really tell me a lot. What tells me the most is more of our real world testing. So let's put on our denim and our MDF, see how they compare that way. All right, more of our real world simulation 380 ACP, 4 layers of heavy denim, 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. Let's see what we get with this. All right, let's hit it with that 38 Special now. All right, 38 Special plus P denim, medium density fiberboard. Let's see what we get here. So take a look. All right, so I expected that with the 38 Special. I did not quite expect what we got there with the 380. It appears that even after going through 4 layers of heavy denim, our 380 ACP still had the velocity to expand really big. And then our penetration is only about 6 3/4 inches. So you have to look at clear ballistics as, you know, half as dense as real flesh. That's kind of similar to where it's at. It's not exact science, it's similar. But so you're looking at, you know, 6 3/4. You have to understand that's probably more like 3.5 inches in a person's body. So what that tells you right away, just by looking at this, it's not going to penetrate well through arms, through sides, through any weird angles. The only way this is going to work effectively is directly straight on squared shots. Now with our 38 Special plus P, we got a little more penetration than before because it looks like the tumbling was affected a little bit. We got there about 16 3/4 inches. So even though we did not get expansion, this is another example out of my dozens of examples of how a non-expanding hollow point does a lot better than a full metal jacket. I see a lot of people and hear a lot of people say, well, non-expanding hollow points, same thing. And it's really not. 38 Special, the energy 38 Special is working with, we would be up here with full metal jacket for penetration, not back here in an ideal depth. So it's like that hollow cavity is kind of filling up with I don't know, pressure, material, whatever, and it's just slowing down for some reason, which is not a bad thing because we got adequate penetration and a tumbling 38 is wide, so that'll do a lot of damage even though it's not ideal. So let's hit our steel, see what kind of practical shootability I can get with these. All right, here's a close-up look at these bullets. Our 380 ACP through our plain gel, just absolutely massive expansion, and that accounts for it not going very deep because, you know, when you're this big going this way, your sectional density is low, the mass is low, it's not going to go anywhere. And it looks like we got jacket separation here. Now with our 38 Special, essentially no change to that bullet. It's got a very big hollow cavity. I think in a 4-inch barrel this would probably do well, but what we're looking at here, through a 2-inch it didn't do so well. And it's a very interesting design because it has an exposed lead base, which you don't typically see in hollow points. They usually seal it up and then the exposed parts on the front, but on both sides they have that. Through our medium density fiberboard, you know, this looks typical of what you see through MDF. A lot of times, you know, you reduce that expansion a little bit, but I think what's happening here is, you know, generally, if let's say if this were a 9mm or something, it would then penetrate adequately, but because this round is so incredibly weak for energy, it didn't go very far after hitting that MDF. And our 38 Special, just very mild nose deformation or rounding on it. It's full of denim. However, when you think about the way this tumbles, you know, look at the expansion here with our 380 ACP through our MDF. If we look at the width of that 38 Special bullet, it's wider than that expanded hollow point. So that means it's actually doing really well, honestly. When you think about it, you're getting as much damage as over a 50 caliber expansion, and you're not over penetrating. So it looks so incredibly unimpressive, but when you actually take a further deeper look at it, it actually is kind of impressive. And this is the opposite. It looks really impressive, but when you look at how far it went in that gel, it's very unimpressive. So that's what you get with those up close. All right, 12 yards from the target. The reason why I always put accuracy in along with a ballistic test for terminal ballistics is because sometimes you can have an ammo that looks so good, so powerful, but yet either from having too much recoil or just the way it's loaded, I can't hit the broadside of a barn with it. So it's better to look at the ammo as a whole, because if you have okay performance yet it shoots good, that's better than having something that's perfect terminal ballistics but then doesn't shoot well. So let me see what I can do with our 38 Special Plus P on steel here, 12 yards. I'd say effective enough. 380 ACP. Let's see what this does. I'm so not used to that trigger. There's sometimes when I shoot that thing where it's like, I'm not short stroking it, but it's kind of like it clicks in a weird way and it slows down my timing. But still, I would say both are about as easy to shoot between the both of these as one to the other. So let me back it up a little bit. All right, 40 yards from the target. I always feel like this is a really good distance because, you know, not only did we have a real situation happen where somebody took out a threat from 40 yards, but 40 yards seems to be, at least for me, the distance where if I pull a shot, it's all on me. Even if the ammo's bad, I should still be able to hit that steel. Going back to 50 and further, then it becomes difficult on my part. So it really is easy for me to judge ammo based on 40 yards. It's about as far as I can reliably always hit. So let's see what I can do here. Let me try the 380 ACP. See what I get with these. All right, so they are consistently hitting a little bit low. Let's see what I can do with our 38 Special here. I got a few rounds on this revolver. All right, that first shot was probably just me. These seem to be shooting pretty well. Let me back it up a little more just for fun. All right, 75 yards. Like I said, just for fun. I enjoy, you know, shooting from distance with handguns just because of how many people say you can't or they won't hit from that distance. That's really what started it for me. It's kind of funny, and somebody says, well, you can't hit anything with a snub-nosed revolver beyond 10 yards, and like, I always found that funny. So I always like doing this for fun. So seeing that these were shooting pretty low at 40 yards, and I've almost doubled the distance to 75, I guess I'm aiming right about here on that silhouette. See if I can make any hits. Shot kind of point of aim. Let me just aim center. Up a little bit high both times. A little bit low. There we go. Wasn't super consistent for me for what I could do, so 38 Special, I got 5 rounds left here. I don't know where these are going to impact, so let me aim just center mass. A little bit low, a little bit higher I have to aim. Oh, hoping for more than like 40%, but at least I did hit, so that's kind of fun. So this ammo was definitely shooting slow, our 38 was. And you know, when you shoot at distance like that, a lot of times what'll happen is the muzzle will rise in a revolver. So you're aiming high even though you're not aiming high. So I always keep in mind to aim center, because the muzzle will rise, will fling that bullet up, and then it'll start dropping, and then it'll often hit center mass. With our 380 ACP, you know, it doesn't jump so much in semi-autos, but you know, being 85 grain, it loses a lot of momentum over distance and was just simply dropping for that purpose. So looking at this ammo here, neither of these are impressive whatsoever. You could do a lot better, and I mean, like in guns like this, especially this 380 ACP, you got almost a 4-inch barrel. There's no reason why, with that much barrel length, we shouldn't get better performance. But in a sense, we got too good a performance because it did overexpand. So that kind of accounts for why it didn't penetrate very far. You know, you have very little mass at 85 grains and you pancake it out, it ain't gonna go in very deep. With the 38 Special though, even though the 38 Special completely failed in every way, shape, and form when you're talking about the FBI statistics, both of these failed. At least we got the penetration. You know, the 380 failed in the fact that it did not get adequate penetration of at least 12 inches. Our 38 Special failed in the sense that it did not get 1.5 times expansion. However, that kind of doesn't matter because we got adequate penetration and tumbling through there. So that's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to adequately penetrate. So even though there's absolutely better 38 Special rounds out there, I would carry these and not worry so much about it because they're going to penetrate well and they're not going to over penetrate and they're going to tumble. Long story short, they're going to do fine, and they were very low recoil and easy to shoot for a +P. 380 ACP, I definitely would not use these because I would prefer to use like a gold dot or something like that where you just get a little bit of hollow point nose deformation, but it still penetrates adequately. These were just way too soft. They expanded too big and we're not getting penetration. If you made a front-on shot with that 380 close up, like boom right here, where you're only gonna need like I was saying about 3 inches of penetration, that would be enough. You know, 6 inches equals 3 inches. But you know, if you're at any angle, you know, even from a side shoulder shot and you're trying to stop a throat, definitely through an arm, any other circumstances like that, that bullet is not going to go deep enough. So that's what you get today. Silver bullets, silver tip, interesting ammo. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.